Welcome to the Christchurch Fox Chapel podcast. As the fastest growing conservative, evangelical, charismatic, hypocritical podcast in the entire Fox Chapel area. Ben and I are discussing today the theme of judging.
Judgment and hypocrisy. Radiohead.
Just keep it going. Okay, no more.
Yeah, we could both just really
Sing that
just sit
song.
here and listen to Radiohead. Listen to Radiohead the whole time.
I saw them live in 1997.
Oh, really?
When OK Computer came out, and it was a great concert.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, it was so good.
They're incredible. Yeah, no, I kind of, as we were sort of preparing, you were playing that song, and I just completely forgot what we were doing. I was just absorbed in the music there for a minute. And I was like, oh, I caught myself. I was like, oh, we're supposed to be doing
They're the
a
ones who
podcast.
spit at you, and you'll be the one screaming out.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I'm here to study the Bible. I forgot.
And yet also to talk about Radiohead. So that's the wonderful thing about this podcast, Ben.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yes.
that I love these albums that do this. I mean, Pink Floyd does it with Dark Side of the Moon, where we think the Dark Side of the Moon is basically Pink Floyd's version of the Sermon on the Mount. It's all these life events.
Yeah, it is sort of their theory of everything.
Yeah,
album.
time and money, all these things.
Time, money.
These big themes, death.
Yeah. Yeah, and the Sermon on the Mount's hitting all of the different aspects of life.
So judging is an interesting one, right?
It's all these little things that we
Why do we judge people?
Why do we judge people? That's a great question. Who is that judgment really about?
What is it about? Avoiding scrutiny on ourselves, so let's just shift the attention to someone else?
A way of venting our negativity or our insecurity?
No, definitely.
I think it's a projection. It's a psychological projection of our insecurity. So the proportion to which, the amount of which we judge other people is a reflection of how insecure we are.
Yeah, people who are very judgy tend to be quite harsh about themselves in secret.
Yeah.
But also there's a weird kind of escapism to it in a sense. It's entertaining to pick other people's lives apart. And it does distract you from your own problems as well. You know, well, look, let's just sit down and complain about our neighbor and pick their lives apart and talk about how much better we are than they are.
But the weird thing for me is that I find like there's multiple ways of erring in this. Like you can fall into like the classic kind of gossip form of judging. Yeah. Where you're just sort of talking about someone and you're open. And that's almost in some ways the least toxic kind because you're like, at least you're bonding with another person over your mutual, judgment of this other third person.
You mean instead of this kind of rumination on your own grievances, like a sour cud that you belch up into your mouth and chew back down into another part of your stomach.
That's exactly the way I was thinking of describing it. Yeah, like it's like you're just chewing the cud. Yeah, you're just
bitterness.
If you're just sitting there, or a sense of superiority. If you're just like quietly judging, like that quiet kind of pride that just looks down on people, that's the loneliest kind. Like because it's inherently alienating from all people. It's a pride, right? But like,
oh, for sure, and we've seen this, haven't we? We're both enjoying the Sermon on the Mount because we're getting into it in a way that we didn't see half of the details or the kind of depth of it. But
I don't think we expected this actually getting into when we took this on for 2 years ago.
It was overly familiar, I think, in some ways, and yet my relationship with it was quite superficial.
I was like, oh yeah, I got this.
One of the things we've seen is that in the Lord's Prayer, the interlude about halfway through the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus talks about forgiveness of others and forgiveness from God. And the point being that when the gospel changes you, you find intimacy, right? You find relationship with the Father, you find relationship with other believers, and even enemies are reconciled. And so that's wonderful. And we would posit the thesis that the opposite would be isolation. And therefore, if you're freed from the judgment trap, then you're going to find intimacy, friendship. If you are in the judgment trap, you're probably going to be alone. Something like that seems to be the pattern that's going on here. Because I mean, who wants a friend who judges them all the time? No one.
I've noticed this, whenever I'm with people who are talking a lot about a third person and have critical things to say about every person, I always find that I'm a little bit more reticent to put myself out there.
Well, yeah.
Toward them. Like I very instinctually sort of close off.
I can't trust you.
Yeah. And yet, like, I can think of times when I've done that kind of thing, like talking about a third person.
Well, is there a single one of the 18 categories on Jesus' highly practical list where you've managed to attain perfection? Because that's another point, isn't it? That we've found through the introduction to this sermon, that was kind of a pleasure to discover. It's actually your recognition of your failings that is the genesis of a blessing,
and it leads you on into greater righteousness. This is not a checklist. This is a deeply intrusive psychological. It catches you.
It does, and I guess the wonderful thing about this is that so far everything has been fairly clear. I mean, we're finding depth in this. We're finding depth in the Sermon on the Mount that we did not know was there.
Yes.
But when we get to the judgment stuff, Jesus nuances his point. I hesitate to say contradicts his point, because I don't think he does that. But on its face, it looks like he contradicts his point, because he basically says, don't judge. And then he tells us how to do it, how to judge.
Verses 1-5 are do not judge. And then verse 6 is like a thing about judgment.
How you prepare to get yourself ready to judge.
Do you want me to just read the whole passage?
Yeah.
All right.
I can't really say no.
This chapter. Don't read the Bible.
No, we don't like that.
Judge not. This is chapter 7, verse 1 of the Sermon on the Mount, or of Matthew. Judge not, that you be not judged. For with the judgment you pronounce, you will be judged. And with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. Why do you see the speck that is in your brother's eye, but not notice the log that is in your own eye? Or how can you say to your brother, let me take the speck out of your eye, when there is a log in your own eye? You hypocrite! First take the log out of your own eye, then you will see clearly to take the speck out of your brother's eye. Do not give dogs what is holy. This is the part that clarifies. Do not give dogs what is holy, and do not throw your pearls before pigs, lest they trample them underfoot and turn to attack you.
Good stuff. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so the bit that everyone knows is judge not, that you be not judged. And actually, most people know judge not, lest ye be judged.
Lest
somehow.
you be judged.
Ye. There seems to be a...
Is that the KJV?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know why it is with the Ten Commandments and certain parts of this sermon. It's gone deep into folk memory, and a bit of yeeing comes out again. But judge not lest ye be judged. Well, I mean, we all know that.
That ye be not judged.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just saying.
All right.
Lest.
Well done.
There's no lest.
There's no lest.
No.
Maybe it's in the BCP. Who knows?
Yeah.
But some of that language of KJV and the BCP, Book of Common Prayer, the real one, 1662, and to be honest, the better one, 1552, that's gone deep into our language, hasn't it? Deeply into Western culture.
It's absorbed. Yeah. I mean, we are a Christ-haunted culture.
That's
We're
right.
totally Christ-haunted. This is Tom Holland would say this, that everything, all of our categories of our interaction with reality have been so deeply shaped by Christianity that a lot of us are kind of living parasitically off of this heritage or remnant.
We have these vestigial phrases without the context. So,
yeah,
judge not that you be not judged. we don't remember verses 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we don't really remember chapters 6 and 7. So 5, 6, and 7. So we really kind of, we just cling on to this bit. Okay, judging is outlawed. You must never do it. And you will hear this, right? You will always hear this. If you
No discernment.
If you correct someone that does not want to be corrected, you try and teach someone unteachable, and they find out that you're a Christian, they're going to bring out this passage. It will not be long. You could laminate this verse, put it on a little card, put it in your pocket, and as soon as they say it, you could pull out the laminated card and see, this is how predictable you are. Like,
they'll be like, you just judged me.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, brilliant, right?
Yeah.
That's a get out of jail free card. I am above judgment.
Don't
Jesus
judge
says
me.
so.
Yeah. But that's not what he's talking about here. That's not what he's saying.
All right. So now we get into it a bit more deeply, right? So judge.
Wait, can I just add one thing?
Yes.
This is so Jesus. It's like this very uncompromising state. This is so Sermon on the Mount. This like uncompromising, totalizing statement doesn't actually seem to make sense of reality. You're like, wait, what are you talking about? And then he actually, beneath that, it's like it provokes you, and then he gives context and clarity and forces you to think deeply. There's so many things in the Sermon on the Mount that if you just live by that phrase, you're like, it doesn't make sense.
Well, actually, it's kind of funny, right? Because sometimes he says a thing and then he doubles down on it, like the forgiveness thing. He says, look, you have to forgive. And then he gives a commentary where he says, you have to forgive. Right?
That's true.
But then the judging one, he says, you can't ever judge. And then he gives a commentary and says, here's how to judge. So it's funny. He's sometimes beefing up what he says, I think, because we don't believe him. And he's sometimes nuancing what he says because actually he's kind of shocking you with a headline, but not creating a cultural milieu that is utterly impossible. Right? So what we think is something like this. He's not outlawing the faculty of judgment. He's not outlawing discernment or preference.
Do you think it's helpful to have some specific, to maybe distinguish with the language?
Totally. So judge not that you be not judged. Okay, so we're into a specific Greek word. For with the judgment that you pronounce, you will be judged. The word pronounce is the same word as judge. So judge not that you be not judged, for with the judgment that you judge, you'll be judged.
Yeah.
So that's very judgy language. It's the same word over and over and over and over again. And it's not just any old word. It's krino, right?
Krinita, hina, me krithita, en hagar, krimati, krinita, krithesesta, kai en, ha. Yeah, it goes
like
on.
that speech from Henry V. Crispians. You would really hear it if you were hearing it in Greek.
Yeah,
possibly said it in Aramaic, but if you're reading it in Greek, you see this judge over and over again, same word.
I mean, it's literally krimati, krinita, krithesesta.
These are different endings to each one to give you different tense or mood or whatever.
For the judgment you pronounce, you will be judged.
Okay, so same root for all of these words, and it's a judicial word, meaning the thing that an actual judge would do, to condemn or give a verdict as he presides over a trial and avenges or condemns or makes some kind of judicial decree from the bench.
Was that a thing? They had courts back in Jesus's culture and society.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those lens things again, right? I mean, I'm imagining Victorian courts in London.
Yeah.
Which, I worked in. And that's kind of stuck in my mind. Lots of brown people in wigs.
Oh, I've been always meaning to ask you. Did you have? I think maybe I did ask you once. Did you have one of those wigs?
I did. I had a terrible wig.
Did you wear it?
Yeah. Well, my wig was pointy. It kind of had like a nipple on the top. It was a terrible shape.
Are there any pictures of you wearing this wig?
Yes. Not many.
Could we have access to those?
No, there's no need.
It would help me, but anyways,
it wouldn't help you at all. It really wouldn't help you, and it wouldn't help you.
It could help my ministry.
It wouldn't help mine.
I'm just saying.
So basically, there were two shops where you could buy a wig in London, and the expensive shop and the cheap shop. I got the cheap wig, and it was pointy, and I looked stupid. So
that's the worst.
Yeah. But no, I didn't really wear it very much. Really, hardly ever, because my old stuff was in go to like hotel rooms and have private trials between people that did not want any public kind of
settlements.
Yeah. So horse trading, no real law.
Mm-hmm.
So Jesus is talking specifically about judging. Yes, they did have judges. They did have litigation. Intriguingly, and we know this from our First Corinthians series, that litigation under Roman law, at least in Corinth, which is not where Jesus is right here, required that the litigant, the person bringing the action, was culturally superior or socially superior to the defendant. So you couldn't sue up the social ladder, only down.
Okay, that makes total sense in Roman society, right?
It does, yeah. So the system was bent towards the interests of the wealthy, and which is why Jesus talks about the importance of settling with people on the way to court. So yeah, not everyone had locus standi, not everyone had a kind of right to bring an action. It was, nothing like the system that we have right now in terms of its codification and so on, but rules of engagement. But yes, there were judges, they did preside over cases. And on top of that, the kind of ecclesiastical trials, and Jesus himself faces one, right?
This is interesting, actually. If by your insight, judge not that you be not judged. If you had to be a superior to bring an action against someone, what's he saying there? Like,
you've got a fat head. You think you're above somebody.
Don't think you're above.
But in particular, this judge word, which conjures up images of a formal verdict from a trial. Okay.
Yeah.
I think is in itself idiomatic of something more eschatological. It's getting us to think about Judgment Day from the judge God.
Yeah.
The judgment of someone's life.
That you be not judged.
Right.
I'm presuming that the one who would judge you if you judge others is God.
Right. So in particular, what Jesus is outlawing is you making judicial level pronouncements, God level pronouncements on the destiny of someone's soul. You're going to hell, you're going to heaven, you're good, you're bad. That kind of thing is what we're being forbidden from doing. It's a very specific kind of a judgment.
Well, because everyone thinks they're one of the good people.
Right.
Like it's pretty normal human nature to think there are some people who do not think of themselves as good people. But most of us, myself included, we would, even though I would say I'm not a good person, because of my theology, like I think that's really true, and I can articulate why, but on a very deep level, I probably operate 99% of the time thinking that I'm a good person.
When Jamie Russell, former pastor at this church, now rector in Washington, he was doing his psych eval for ordination, and one of the questions was, do you think you're a good person? And all the questions like that, he put really bad stuff down. It's like, no, I'm totally depraved, I'm a flesh sack, I'm a used tampon, I'm just like, he's using all sorts of Isaiah language, and just I'm filth, I'm trash, and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And he got called in to see the shrink, because he'd done really well on the exam, but evidently he had crushingly low self-esteem. And it turned out that he'd answered all of the questions theologically and not psychologically. And of course, in biblical theology, we're an absolute calamity. However, the righteousness of God has been imputed upon us. So the psychologist couldn't understand how he had so much kind of comfort and assurance at the same time as this kind of what appeared to be self-loathing.
Yeah, how can are Christians just dour and down on themselves? No. It's cheer up. You're worse than you think.
Yeah, grace is real. But what's being outlawed in particular is making analytical judgments about the destiny of someone's being. Are they going to heaven or hell? Because what that means that you believe that you're capable of making judicial pronouncements. You've appointed yourself as a judge,
as a good evaluator of character.
Well, yeah, and evidently you're not, because Jesus says, "With the measure you use, it will be measured to you." It's the same or similar language to what we had about span of life. Actually, kind of similar image, measuring. It might even mean cubit. something like that.
The thing that I've always the way I've always understood this, and you can tell me if you've looked at this more than I have, but I've always understood it to be like, if you are harsh on other people, if you have a standard for everyone else's behavior that is like impossible, you can always find an error. Well, the error will be found with you.
Yeah. How would you like to live under that level of scrutiny with that, measure?
Yeah.
That yardstick.
Yeah.
Because that's what you're asking for.
Yeah.
If you're going to be the judge, then you have to be good enough to be the judge. So you're going to be judged as if you were God. You're going to be judged by the perfect standard of God. If you're going to be God, then you're going to be judged as if you're God.
This reminds me of something that Jesus says. I forget if it's in John 7 or 8 or something like that, when he heals this blind man by the pool of Bethesda. And the Pharisees are mad, and they come and they claim that they see. And Jesus says, if you had not seen, you wouldn't have been guilty concerning this. But now that you say we see, your guilt remains. In other words, they're guilty. They're held accountable based upon their claim that they have a corner on truth and an accurate evaluation of reality.
I think it's very interesting that you go with that analogy or example, right? Illustration, because Jesus goes on to talk about hypocrisy, which was the word of the day, and that was one of his hypocritical. That was one of his favorite insults to the Pharisees.
Yeah, isn't that a word from? It's from Greek theater, is it not?
Are you ready?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Please.
So yeah, well, you know this bit, right? So the hypocrites were the play actors of the day, and they pretended to have feelings, right, as part of the character they were playing. So the real human behind the mask might have one set of feelings, but the character they were pretending to be, that would have different feelings. The kind of theatre graphic that we have of the two masks with the happy and the smiley face are derived from this word hypocrite, is the mask wearing.
Yeah.
And so Jesus is saying the problem with hypocrisy is you're pretending superficially to be one thing, but deep down behind the scenes you're another. That's the problem with it. Yeah. That's fun. But the word hypocrite is an amalgam of under and judgment. The crit bit. Yeah, the crit bit is the same as the judge word that you just said a number of times, crino, right?
Oh,
hypocrite is actually hupo and crino stuck together. So I just think that's a little Easter egg in there, that this hypocrite word that you would barely notice is actually derived from the word to judge.
Yeah.
Funny.
It has a judgment idea.
I don't really quite understand why there's a judgment word in the word hypocrite, but it's funny that it's in there. And I just think it's another one of those amazing pieces of rhetoric and language that Jesus sometimes brings out.
He has the Sermon on the Mount is full of this stuff.
Pretend judge.
He gives these
fake judge.
And he gives this crazy illustration that's very funny, I think, actually, in its context.
It's bonkers.
It's very funny, but everyone's heard it a million times, so we don't think it's funny anymore. But why do you see the speck that is in your brother's eye, but do not notice the log that is in your own eye? Yeah,
and that's funny, isn't it? It's like straining of gnats. He talked about that at one point with the Pharisees.
Yeah.
Why are you pulling out this microscopic problem from someone's eye, like a little fleck of dust that's got in their eye, when you have a plank,
a blank sticking out of your own eye?
Imagine
the image is funny.
It is. When we're just putting in the steps in the parish hall for the kids' room, these oak planks.
Oh yeah,
and they're huge. Well, they're lying next to the steps, but they're huge, aren't they? They're what, 12-foot long oak planks.
Yeah. Really
Could you imagine, and compare that to a fleck of dust? It's absurd.
Yeah.
It's kind of idiomatically the biggest and smallest thing compared.
Yeah. And your attention to the flaws of your brother are so intense that you're worried about that, but your inattention to your own flaws.
You haven't noticed a really obvious problem that you have because you're so obsessed with a really small problem that someone else has. And that's funny.
Well, I think that brings it to what we were saying. Judgment is a kind of projection, and maybe we could say deflection.
It blinds you.
It gives you a bad eye. But it's a way of deflecting criticism.
Mm-hmm. Didn't you talk about that earlier? The eye thing. He's still going with that.
The eye is the lamp of the body.
Yeah.
Yeah. That having a generous, like a good eye is a generous heart. A bad eye is an ungenerous heart.
So minutes earlier, he mentions eyes and hearts and generosity as the eye being a kind of window into the soul.
Yeah.
And here he goes again.
I think Jesus is often playing on these ideas of perception, of reality. The way that we understand the world around us is our, you could call it our spiritual vision. And so, I mean, this is one of the reasons why there's so many, you see so many, I think, blind man stories in the scriptures, like in the New Testament. I think they get featured often, like blind Bartimaeus or the man at the pool of Bethsaida, because it illustrates a deep, profound spiritual point. Because your vision literally is your ability to navigate reality. Like if I could lose any of my five senses, I would probably, my vision would be the last one I would want to lose.
Right.
But so it's like,
No, that's right. So there's a call to kind of realism here, to open your eyes and see what you've got going on.
Yeah.
So you can't judge because you're not the judge, right? Okay, that's pretty clear. If you judge, the problem is you're going to find yourself under judgment. That's pretty clear. And the problem with all of this judging is that you're zooming in on tiny things and you're failing to notice big problems of your own. So there's 3 points pretty rapidly made.
He's advocating for a really humble understanding, a humble anthropology, humble understanding of your own position.
But then the needle scratches across the record. All right. And he says something completely different to what we're expecting. How can you say to your brother, let me take the speck out of your eye, when there's a log in your own eye? Well, there's just this hint there, right? That maybe I could try and take the speck out of my brother's eye if I didn't have this flipping log hanging around. You hypocrite. First, take the log out of your own eye. There's the command. And then you will see clearly to take the speck out of your brother's eye. So it is okay to point out something that your friend or your brother is doing wrong.
Yeah. And
in fact,
actually, a responsibility. That's not the creed of our culture.
No,
our culture is
judge not, yes, you'll be judged.
Yeah, live and let live. You do you, I'll do me.
Okay, yeah, and this is where we're all mixed up, right? In a big old mess, right? Because for sure, our culture is actually very judgmental. And if you think about something like social media, or even more specifically, the cancel culture that arose in the last few years.
Oh, yeah.
Right. That is all about judging. We judge our politicians, famous people. Oh, look how she looks. Britney Spears did that song, Mrs. Extra Extra News just in. She's too fat now, she's too thin. She felt completely judged and went crazy because every inch of her body was scrutinized and judged. We judge the way women look. We judge the way people behave. We call our friends out on social media. We stalk people. We drag them down. We trawl through things they wrote 20 years ago to find out some faux pas, and then we amplify it and blow it out of all proportion.
We claim that we have some sort of blanket understanding of people based upon their political alignment.
Right. We generalize and dump people into baskets.
Yeah.
I would go even further and say, you're required to judge, because if you don't fly the flag and say the mantra right, then you will be judged.
And that's both on the right and on the left.
Oh, yeah, for sure. All the little doctrines and phrases.
It's just symptomatic of our society.
Yes, and we had it in Nazi Germany and Soviet Russia. The kind of trotting out of mantras. But what's intriguing is there's a new facet, a new dimension, I think, to the appeal of judging. If I judge someone else, it will take the attention off me. And if I judge someone else, it will prove to everybody that I'm the right sort.
Yeah.
And so we go scalp hunting You know, I've managed to tear down someone who previously was thought of as a bit of a hero. Then I've really got a notch on my belt now. I'm really good.
I noticed this when I first entered into the Anglican Diocese of Pittsburgh. There were some people who the word crazy was thrown around very, very loosely, and used as a way of kind of like isolating you from that person. Like, that person, they're all crazy, but I know what's really going on. And we're the real people who really get it.
Yeah.
And I found ultimately that was a very manipulative kind of way of using it. So sometimes we can use judging of others in order to manipulate the person that we're talking to. It's so sneaky. It is so many reasons why we do it.
We're tempted to take attention off ourselves. We're tempted to promote ourselves by looking down at other people. We fear that if we don't judge, then we're kind of exposing ourselves as being just as wrong as the person that we fail to call out.
Yeah.
And so you can see how denunciations become the norm. I mean, even at the high school, there's a system which is called Safe to Say, and I've got very mixed feelings about it. So the advantage is that basically you can call this anonymous tip line and say that someone's doing something. And it's safe for you to say it. You can say it, there won't be any blowback on you. And maybe they're up to no good. Maybe they're hurting somebody or hurting themselves. And so it's useful to have this anonymous tip line.
Yeah.
The problem with it is that for the most part in Western jurisprudence, legal doctrine, right, the person accusing someone needs to put their name behind the accusation.
Yeah.
So that they can be cross-examined and their motives can be understood.
Yeah.
We don't normally just call people out from the dark and just create an environment where you can just fire off pot shots in the woods.
Yep.
That because it's very dangerous. Yeah. And that is exactly what happens under Stalin and actually even Lenin before him. That's exactly what happens. Denunciations. Children in Nazi Germany were encouraged to shop their parents for various things. Solzhenitsyn writes about this extensively in Gulag Archipelago.
Yeah.
And so I fear some of that judge culture that we've got is actually being encouraged and dressed up as though it were good.
Yeah, because you have to speak your truth kind of thing. Like, but there's something that claims to be vulnerability but is not. How do we
interrogate the accuser if things are done in secret?
Yeah.
So judging, very important to people. It's very popular. It feels exciting. It gets the attention off of you. It's hypocritical because actually you're bad too, and of course it actually prevents you from helping people. There's the irony.
Yeah.
When you judge someone, and you're not actually dealing with your own stuff first, it prevents you from seeing clearly.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Last bit. Verse 6.
Verse 6, do not give dogs what is holy, and do not throw your pearls before pigs, lest they trample them underfoot and turn to attack you.
That's a pretty good idea, isn't it? I mean, you wouldn't want to throw pearls at pigs, would you?
Yeah, I guess people had pearls then. I'm assuming he wouldn't have mentioned it.
Yeah. Priceless pearl, maybe.
A pearl of great price. Okay, so don't throw valuable things. Don't throw a wholly separated valuable thing to something that is unclean. So you have dogs. It's an unclean kind of...
Unclean animal and idiomatic of a non-believer.
Yeah.
Pig, the archetypal unclean animal. So don't give something precious and holy to something profane. Okay,
so this is discernment.
It is discernment.
This is, you could call it judgment. This is knowing. I love that. It reminds me of that thing where Jesus, I forget where it is. It's in Luke, but it says, Jesus did not entrust himself to them, for he knew what was in a man. Like, it was a place for being as wise as serpents, as well as innocent as doves.
So in which case, what we've got here is, don't go around judging people in the sense that you think that you're God, but do go around having a sober judgment about yourself so that you can reach judgments about people. You can see and observe what's going on and even help them. That's okay.
This is all getting toward that like accurate perception of reality. Mm-hmm. Jesus is really interested in in helping us to see things rightly.
Yeah.
And then you can operate the right way.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got something like don't judge people. Don't put yourself in the position of God, because if you do, then you are going to experience the same kind of judgment of yourself. So it's not a good idea. Don't do it.
Yeah.
The other problem is if you are just always obsessing about other people, then you're not going to be paying any attention to yourself, which means that you're going to have a problem that's undealt with and unresolved, and you're going to be useless. You're not going to be able to help anyone else.
It's like on an airplane, right? You're supposed to put your own mask on before you put the mask onto the person next to you. Like, it's kind of check yourself, and then you can be of help.
Then you can be of help.
Because there are times, I mean, this is a lot of this is like our whole shepherding depends upon you have to discern and think about what's going on in someone's life. What are their giftings? What are their sins? What are their insecurities? What are they worrying about? What's God doing in their life right now? And you have to, you just have to do that. You have to discern.
So if you've let go of the idea that you're God, you're not judging people in terms of their soul, but you are self-aware, and you are actually aware the other person is doing something harmful to themselves or someone else, you can intervene, provided you're right with God first. And then the question just becomes, should I intervene? Okay, I'm able to, and maybe even at times commanded to, but is it always the right thing to do? No.
Well,
go ahead.
This brings us back to like your, it's all about your relationship with the Father. Like it's the Holy Spirit. Like discernment is something that's led by God. Like Jesus is always saying like, I do nothing of my own, but I only do what I see the Father doing.
Interesting.
So you just walk in step with him and, humble yourself and, and just trust God to do the clarifying and the heavy lifting. And that's the way forward.
I guess you could say, look, the problem with appointing yourself as judge is you're behaving like the Father. And the problem with always trying to fix everyone else's problems is you're behaving like the Savior. And you're neither of those things. Yeah. And so there's a category error going on here, right? People are not quite sure who they are. You do realize that if you, and he says this in the Beatitudes as well, if you look like Jesus, they'll treat you like Jesus. If you go to a dog and you give them something holy, you go to a non-believer and you try and call them up into behaving like a Christian, right? Which is the same thing as throwing pearls before a pig. Well, they're just going to trample on your pearls and then they're going to attack you. And pigs eat people.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to fall into a pit of hungry pigs. They will kill you.
Yeah.
So the thing is, when Christians go around trying to call non-Christians up into the Christian ethic, often we just get attacked. It's not a very productive exercise.
Well, and you're just hammering people with the law before you give them the gospel.
Yeah, you're doing the opposite of what the Sermon on the Mount is all about.
Yeah, and I think this is a very broad appeal and application. Like there's something about, I think, venturing vulnerability. Like I remember I was at this like poetry reading in seminary. And
wow.
This one, there was a poetry, there was like a writer's circle, and they had this poetry reading, and this one woman got up and shared this very, very deeply personal, very, very deeply graphic account of something that had happened to her. That was, and as soon as after she shared it, it was so awkward in the room, and the people there were just not able to receive what she had. And there's some discernment of knowing when to say it, when to say, and when to entrust yourself to people. And with the gospel too, are they ready to receive something?
Yeah, where's someone at? You meet someone who's deeply stuck in one of the 18 traps.
Yeah.
But they don't know the gospel, they've never heard the gospel. And you start trying to get them to behave in their own strength as though they had received it and were now living out what it does without knowing what it is, well, they're going to attack you. It's going to be a futile exercise.
You're going to be offended.
You'd be far better off sharing the gospel with them than sharing the fruit of the gospel with them.
Yeah, isn't that the truth?
And that may be more or less it. If you really want to help people, point them towards Jesus.
Yeah. Well put.
Well, this has been a podcast of Christchurch Fox Chapel. I'm so glad that you would join us. And of course, thanks for stopping by.
Stay classy, not judgmental.